And we did start. I think they got a foul in there, so Michigan's going to get some free throws. But we'll go. Already went live. So this is the Husker or the basketball postgame show, wrapping up the Nebraska loss today to Michigan. Michigan had a chance to add a few more points here, depending on if they make free throws. Could be a 6-point game ultimately for Nebraska. Another good effort. For the Huskers, like I just said, not a whole lot of moral victories at this point anymore. But Bryce McGowan's continues to look good. First Husker freshman ever to post 4 straight 20-point games. And he did it in a very good fashion tonight. 24 points, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, a dunk on a fast break opportunity off one of those steals. 1 of 5 from 3. If you're critiquing his game, I guess that was where it'd be. A lot of very good finishes at the rim. And it was just one of those cases where Nebraska led 44-37 at halftime, and they were hitting a lot of shots that I don't know that you would project to be difficult to continue hitting. I suppose is that they were going to go on a stretch, and in Michigan, to their credit, came out in the second half and just rode Hunter Dickinson to get that lead back. Nebraska had their own stretch, so it's kind of a game of runs. Unfortunately, Michigan ends up with an 83-79 victory. I have to refresh that. I didn't really watch the free throws. They might have a few more points there. 85-79 victory for the Michigan Wolverines, now improving to 5-4 in conference play on the Wolverines side, 11-8 overall. Nebraska drops to 6-16. 0-11 in conference play. And I want to ask you this because I saw some of this too on Twitter, DP. Does it make you less of a fan if you're not watching, do you think?
Yes.
It does make you less of a fan.
It does. It actually does.
I hate to say it because I get that there's like you need a break or whatever, mental health days and all that. But the point is, as opposed to somebody that is watching it, I think it does make you a little bit less of a fan because they were watching it.
No, your fanhood's cheap. If you're not going to be there and ride through the hard stuff, right? I mean, look, as much as we'll complain about the outcome, we rather enjoyed 48 minutes of this, 38 minutes of this, right? That's what that is. Now, yeah, I made it through the house in the dark all the way to the bedroom and then stubbed my toe on the bed right as I turned the corner. But pain is pain. Pain is pain. Like that. Better performance against Michigan than what they gave here at PBA.
Oh, yeah.
Improvement? Yeah. Good enough? No.
No, nothing's going to be good enough until Nebraska gets the win. And unfortunately, they have a couple of chances against Northwestern and Minnesota coming up in the week ahead. 2 other teams that are struggling, I suppose, not winless in the Big Ten quite yet, but struggling near the bottom of the standings. So Nebraska will at least have that to rely on. But a good effort, certainly, tonight from Nebraska. It was kind of a game within the game, was kind of the fun of Nebraska's bigs, of trying to avoid as many fouls as they can, but it was nearly unstoppable or very difficult to do, obviously, because of Hunter Dickinson, the 7-footer. He really got going in the second half, so they kind of had to deal with Derek Walker's foul trouble. He ended up fouling out. Mayen was in foul trouble. Obviously, Ed Andre, all the bigs that Nebraska had kind of went through their foul trouble, and Nebraska was still able to stick out. So I think that it's a solid performance, but it's just not going to get you over the top or get you too excited. And obviously at this point at 0-11 in conference play, you could fear maybe losing the team or something like that, but it's not that. I mean, they're still coming out and competing and taking it to the end. They have the talent to get these wins. It's just closing them out. That seems to be the problem. There's obviously Bryce McGowan's is the furthest guy from the blame that goes on tonight for their loss, but just a turnover there late seemed to be the separation. He just kind of misbobbled a dribble. And it was an easy point as Michigan leaked out and kind of extended their lead to double digits, not double digits, multiple possessions, and Nebraska was never able to get back to it. But overall, I mean, I think you have to be impressed with the contribution from everybody that played tonight. Nebraska played 9 deep. Everybody had at least 4 points with Trey McGowan and Ed Andre there at 4. Everybody besides them had more than 7. Nebraska finished the bench production with 26 points off the bench. You'll take that every time, and they did pretty well against Michigan, especially a Michigan team that drilled, I think, close to, what was it, 15 threes? It was like a Pinnacle Banker record when they came to Lincoln, and 2 of 15 from beyond the arc for Michigan. So, that certainly played into it too. But I guess at this point, it just, the guy that really made Michigan run. I mean, Nebraska kind of went on a run when he went out there at a point in the second half, was Hunter Dickinson. And that's a guy that could have been playing in the NBA right now. I don't know how many minutes he'd get. I don't know, but a 7-footer.
He'd play.
You'd think it was a surprise that he came back. And now has extended in this year, been able to shoot a little bit better from deep. So he's working on some things, but he was the difference in this game overall, the leading scorer, and certainly a difference when he exited the game in that second half for Nebraska, was able to go on their little bit of run. It was a game of runs.
Yeah, when you look at the final numbers, and Dickinson finished with 26 points. 26 points, 8 rebounds, right? And a lot of those were gutter work, right? Brooks gave him 20, 18 for Devontae Jones, and then everybody else was kind of in the pool of 6 or 3. For Nebraska, look, McGowan's gave you 24 and 6, right? The text line asks a question, so I'll go ahead and put it out there. How do we not sub for the last 8 to 10 minutes? Our best defender, Trey McGowan's on the bench. Don't know. Text line says those guys were gassed. Yes, they were. How was Trey not on the floor? Trey is under a minute's watch. Remember, he is still in recovery. So some of what you're asking is that they are protecting the young man from himself, wanting to be out there and doing his thing. I was a little concerned about Bird not being on the floor. Tamanaga gave you what he can give you, right? Positive moments. Lat Mayen down the stretch. And remember, Lat had to defend Biggs for several minutes while there was foul trouble. We saw it as it developed and formed. And we were familiar enough to understand that in this space, they were going to need somebody to step up and handle the last 4 minutes. They got to 2-minute mark, and then it went left. McGowan's with 24, 10 from Derek Walker, 8 for Verge and Wilcher, 7 for Webster, Tamanaga, and Mayen, 4 apiece for Eduardo Andre and Trey McGowan's. Now, again, the numbers for me tell a story. If you want to ask for improvement, you have something you can talk about. Not improvement enough. We did this dance before. We did it in football season. We understand it. Nebraska was 51% from the field goal. I would dare say that's the best shooting performance they've had.
Yeah.
7 of 18 from beyond 3, 39%, and that number was around 50 until the final 4 shots were taken. 12 of 15 from the free throw line, 80%. The numbers you circle. Out rebound 44 to 26. And if you're in a grinding game, the extra possession will kill you. They're plus 18 possessions. Michigan 14 to 9 in assists. Both teams had 2 blocks. Nebraska led with 6 steals. Both teams had 11 turnovers, 21 fouls to 17 for the Huskers. Now, Michigan shot 47%. And circle this, because the easiest way to turn a bad team into a good one is to defend. Defend at a high level. And we saw the exhibition that Michigan put on here. 2 of 15, Bach. That didn't just happen. So, yeah, it's a tough finish, but it is the toughest thing in all of sports is the finish. Fred Hoiberg knows more about his team today than he did yesterday. He doesn't know enough yet. But a 6-point loss in Ann Arbor when you had a chance to tie the score with a ball in your hands, some things had to happen well for you to get to that point. You just didn't finish.
Yeah, and that's been a problem for Nebraska all year long. Off Facebook, Joe McCracken says, we're not this bad, just keep having late game mess ups. And I've cleaned up his language a little bit there, but I mean, that's kind of the feeling that we have there. Eric Strickland joining us on the stream here. Strick, of course, the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet. What did you see from tonight's action?
I was gonna go in, but I don't think that's overly deserving. I like some of the switching up of going with the small lineup. You can tell that it definitely was an effective thing that they can take advantage of. Again, DP made a good point on that. You have to rebound. I mean, you have to collectively, you can't be looking at anything. You've got to put bodies on people and you've got to scrap. At times they did that. When they did that, they were able to make runs in the game. And so that was an impressive thing. They've made really good runs. I think there's just some disappointing things, though, that, when you close out the half, you're one of your best guys that's been hot is six for 10. And coming out of the half, he's 6 for 10. And you have a chance to get him that ball with, under 10 seconds left, and you don't. That's a shame. You got to let him get the ball with space to be able to get downhill, because then you get a terrible shot. And again, that's just where they falter. They falter just not being able to get quality looks that other teams do. I thought they did a good job of getting Dickinson in trouble, Diabate in trouble. They did a good job of taking advantage of that. Then you come out, they come back. You know what they do. They block shots. You can't continue to get downhill. You do what you do when you get them out of the game, and then you got to switch it up. You've got to draw them and find the next guy. And then a good example was probably with about 3 minutes left. And this is the problem. And I've talked to this about many times, and they've got to correct this. This is the only way you can win games on the road. It's got to be corrected. Great drive to the basket by Trey McGowan. Trey McGowan kicks it to the corner, about 3 minutes left, to CJ Wilcher. CJ Wilcher's next pass is Bryce I mean, it shouldn't stay in your hands. You catch it, pop, it's got to go. He's wide open. He had nobody on him. The rotations had no chance of getting there. That's the good shot. He hesitates. Then they try to do something, pass it in the middle, drive, and it's a bad shot. That's the problem. They got to correct that. They've got to have more of those types of looks where that ball is getting kicked and it's moved around for good shots. And that's why I think you have that problem. They do everything good, man. They shoot the ball well. They shoot the three well. They did okay in free throws. The assist number is only 9. There's a part of your problem. And the rebounds. You know, on the road, you've got to be able to do those things.
Yeah, the rebounding battle certainly ended up catching up to Nebraska. And I know, like, early in that game, they were leading, as far as, like, points in the paint. I doubt that they ended up that way. We'll have to kind of see and catch up on that stuff. But again, a solid performance from Nebraska, even leading by 7 at half, 44-37. But Michigan closes it out at 20-6 run down the stretch to win this game, 85-79. This is the post-game, our Hoops post-game show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We're up against it, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few moments and talk more about this game, break it down a little bit more with myself, DP, and Strick. That's coming up next here on the post-game show on 93.7 The Ticket.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season. Enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Now what do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in Westo, and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our Peace of Mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on Westo Street at Price Right Auto.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? Worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Back to the Tickets Basketball Postgame Show, featuring Derek Pearson and former Husker and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Husker basketball in the need of a little more bounce tonight. Michigan had just a little bit more there, especially at the end to break away and win this game 85-79. Huskers dropping to 6-16 overall, 0-11 in conference play, and it hurts every time we do this post game to say that, but hopefully they get their opportunity with a couple home games again in the next few. The next few home games are against Northwestern and Minnesota. For what it's worth, Northwestern 3-8 in conference play, 10-10 overall. Minnesota 2-7 in conference play, 11-7 overall. So certainly some opportunities there, especially at home to get it. But this would have been a big one, not just on Nebraska's side, but it would have really put the alarms on Michigan's side if they would have lost this game. Would have been 10-9, a losing record in conference play. I mean, they're already a team that's going to have to do some work to get back in the NCAA tournament consideration. But a loss to Nebraska would have really hurt. So sometimes it's not even what you gain. It's just what you take away from the other team. And especially with Tom Brady's retirement, you know, it would have been really nice just to kind of rub that in. But Nebraska not quite able to do it today. Let's talk a little bit about Casey Tominaga, though, because there's a lot to break down there. 7 points today, got a lot of the second half minutes seemingly from Alonzo Verge, or, he kind of plays the wing where Verge plays the point. So maybe that was Webster there. But because he was playing, you can only play 5 guys on the floor, and they kind of like to spark. However, a lot of people pointing out that technical seemed to be where the game started to switch, to where Michigan started to get the momentum. Strick, let me ask you this, because DP said he would have got the technical too. You get a clean block. You're that small. You get a clean block on a 7-footer, and it gets called. How hard would it be not to react the way that Tominaga does? Especially, we know he's an animated player to begin with.
First of all, I can do this because of our platform here, is that the refs were horrible. There was way too many phantom calls. I mean, it's both ways. I'm not saying it was one-sided for Nebraska. It was both way bad. There was a phantom call on Eduardo Andre. He reaches out. There was a phantom call on Walker a few times. And then that one. So you've been sitting on the bench and you've been seeing some of this stuff happen. And then you get a block. Strick is getting a technical too. and I would have reacted the exact same way. That's just, I mean, I'm being honest. And yes, it did change the momentum, but I can't fault that young man for that response because that was a horrible garbage call. First of all, I'm a referee, and that's not your man. As a referee, he has Derek Walker.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why sometimes I be wondering how the heck some of these cats be out there because they're so undisciplined as far as their refereeing responsibilities. Me as a referee, so you have the trail, you have the C, and you have the lead. That lead person has no eyes on Tamanaka. If that top guy doesn't make a call, and I feel bad because he got all ball on that. There's no way he can see what Tamanaka did from that. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
But I will say, as we're talking Tamanaka, he seemed like he was down in the dumps a little bit the last few games.
Mm-hmm.
He came out with a different type of energy tonight, and that's good. They have to have that from him. Kobe Webster needs to figure it out, or he's going to go to the bench for a while. He's getting every opportunity right now to do what he needs to do to help this team to win, and he's right now not following through with the opportunity that's being gifted unto him. They still, I don't care what anybody says, they still play better basketball without Verge on the floor right now. That's just, the ball moves. That when, him on the bench, they come out, they end up with, I think, a 7 or 8-0 run, get back into the game, go up 4. I ain't got no problem with the young man. I just think that ball with that Husker team can't be stagnant, or they have no chance of winning, period. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, and we saw that in the second half again. Alonzo Verge not getting as many second half minutes kind of down the stretch. And, it's one of those things where, and it's especially, I mean, okay, it's like Bryce is hitting a lot of shots that are a high level of difficulty. And that's good because he's developing into having more confidence, more physicality. There's no question that Bryce's game is evolving right in front of our eyes. Some of the other guys, though, too, you kind of worry because it starts to rub off on some of the other guys, right? Now they see Bryce could do it. Okay, we could take some high-level difficulty shots. And it's basketball. You're going to have some that aren't going to be great. But I think that we saw a little bit of that, coming from Alonzo Verge. And maybe it's nothing new. Maybe it has nothing to do with Bryce hitting a few of them. But I think that's – you almost get in trouble with that when you hit, like – Alonzo's got that where he's able to hit bad shots. I've said it all year. He's a good bad shot taker or maker. But when you take bad shots and they look bad, like he airballed a floater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was it was just, and it looked, I don't know if he lost it. I mean that looked flat. And
the ball never moved. It never touched anybody else. That happened at least 4 times in that segment. You're right.
And Fred has said this, that they do kind of break down when they're in a scoring drought. The other team's going wild. They kind of start to get into this one-on-one. Somebody's got to be the hero to eventually break the streak, and they kind of did that again. But I don't know. I just had a kind of conflicting thoughts there because like they hit a lot of difficult shots in the first half, and sometimes you're thinking, well, maybe that's not good that they're hitting those difficult shots. That gives them the green light to go ahead and take them. On the other hand, you got to say, you know what? At some point, you're going to have to hit some of those. I mean, that's just part of basketball. You're not going to get through a 40-minute game with 100% good shots. As much as we love ball movement and trying to instill that on those guys, they've got to be able to make those. It just felt like it wasn't going to be sustainable, and that's why I worried about Michigan coming back. And this was a game of runs. They ended up doing it, but it's interesting to see how that's going to play out with some of those guys that you mentioned, because, even though Tamanaga's not running the point right now, between him, Verge, and Webster, I mean, that's just kind of, the smaller guys on the team. So they're going to have to rotate those minutes. And it seems to be very inconsistent between the three of them, who's helping you out in that game or in that moment.
DP, or you want me to dig on it?
Oh, dig on, brother. Dig on.
No, you're right to a sense. You're not going to have a perfection of game shots. Yes, you would much rather have them earlier in the game than later. You have to know what's a good shot and what's not a good shot later in the game, right? You have to know time, score, situation. All of those things have to come into play. And therefore, unless it's late clock, you should be hunting for good shots. The thing that I did love about Bryce is he's very poised in his back downs, in his abilities to create space and get shots. He was very poised tonight. He looked very in control for the most part, other than a couple of drives where he kind of got a little bit fast on himself and wasn't able to get a good attempt up. But I thought he played good defense. I thought they played good defense as a whole, as a team. But when you play good defense, there's nothing worse or nothing more bad than to not secure that ball after you did all that work. That's the part that me personally as a guard, I'm going to get that. That's just me. I'm wherever it's going, I'm hunting. Because I'm trying to play O as opposed to D. We just played 20, 30 seconds of that thing. I'm trying to get that ball. So I just don't know if they have that same hunt right now. And we'll see. We'll see if they got to do something. But I like the small lineup. I'm hoping they stay with it a little bit. But DP said something I think they maybe would have been better off with Latman possibly in there to be a little bit more length that can help in those rebounds.
Yeah, and that's interesting too. Is he was in foul trouble as well with the 3 fouls that he had through a part of that game. So maybe that's you just kind of wonder with these rotations and that they're they're trying to find out what can work, especially against Hunter Dickinson. I mean, that guy is so talented with kind of the old school level of play, like right for a 7-footer where he can back you down, little hook shot here and there. I mean, he can get a shot whenever he wants, especially against an undersized team. Even Derek Walker has kind of come out and said it in the Big Ten. He wish he had a few more inches on him to be able to compete with those type of guys. And maybe, and so the foul trouble caught up to him a little bit. So I think that's something that we also have to give credit for. I know that we don't want to give too much credit to Nebraska in a loss, but it's all we really have been able to do this year. But, I think coaching around the foul trouble, I thought was rather impressive tonight, considering that those guys. I mean, this was a problem in the first half, so it was just kind of a plan pacing. Eduardo Andres eventually going to start picking them up. He ended up with 4. So I guess DP, how impressed were you from the coaching side tonight? Hoiberg having to shuffle that around and knowing that those fouls were adding up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I was going to ask Strick this question, and Bach, you can respond the same, but I kind of felt like this might have been their best performance, especially the first half. But for them to play as a team, this may be the loudest, most connected version that we've seen this year. It showed the most balance, showed the most depth. And then I also want to ask you, Strick, is this when you play Michigan and with Dickinson, do you kind of want to let him get his and just worry about everybody else?
Nah, bro. There was a couple segments in there where you saw the right type of defense on Dickinson. You hard dig, make him pick it up, back him out a little bit, have him look. He's looking skip. Then you top rotate and then rotate back. It worked, and they didn't get a good shot or an open 3. You got to be active to do it though, and they can do it. They have that. That was when they were with that small lineup. I think it was a Tabanaga hard dig. He picks it up. He backs out. He throws a skip. I think Bryce or somebody goes to the corner, which is the right rotation, and then Tabanaga goes to the top. If you can do that, and they'll be fine. But you don't let Dickinson go nuts down there. That's no bueno. That's trouble all night long, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Think about this team was. After a 19-3 run, after giving up the huge run, 19-3, you up 6 with 8 minutes left, maybe 9 minutes. Then you get in, you got a 7-point lead with 6 minutes left. Wilcher free throws ties the game at 79 with 80 seconds left. This came down to 80 seconds of not being able to execute the small things in the most critical moments.
Small things.
right? Like that's like I want to paint that picture. It's a hard swallow, right? Because I said at the end of the first half, if they went into halftime with a 10-point lead, they were going to win the game. And they gave up that final bucket. I went, doggone it. We didn't get that one. And then after the run, and you make the run, and then you go on a 19-3 run. Now, mind you, if we say that Nebraska goes on a 19-3 run in the second half, things are going to end well, right? So we figured out how to work the first 4 minutes. We figured out how to work the last 4.5. Sans one possession. Figured out how to come out the second half, right? Terrible run in the first 4 minutes. Put yourself down. This team it's too familiar. It's an accumulation of small things with big results, and it's just tough. It's just tough.
But to your point, I do think that this might be the best we've seen from him, right? I mean, they did have well, I keep adding it up because it's hard to accept 26 points off the bench, and everybody like we talk about this team trying to define their roles. And I don't know if they've completely found that, but CJ Wilcher, 8 points, and you can see him streaking and getting open for 3, and he knows what his role is. Obviously, Kobe with his 7 points, Tamanaga had his role there, 7 points. I thought Andre competed well. We know, like I said, the fouls are going to be there, but he got a block, a steal, 4 rebounds, and 4 points. All that off the bench. Latz, I think, has been playing better. He didn't have too many minutes tonight, maybe because of the foul trouble. Maybe Verge is the exception to this point because he had 31 against Michigan the first time. But a lot of it just has to do, in my mind, with just Bryce coming along. I mean, this is 4 straight games with 20-plus points. He just had 29 against Rutgers, 24 tonight against Michigan, a team that he struggled with the first time around, shot 2 of 9 from the field, only finished with 9 points. It's kind of silly to say, but I think the roles are coming. But at the same time, a lot of it just has to do with how your best player is evolving, and it's hard to get, because usually when you say, well, how far can they go with how far can their best player take them? At this point, you just want a couple conference wins to to get off the schneid and feel good about the projection of the program. You don't know what that means for Bryce moving forward, but I guess there's this. He's averaging the second most points of any freshman in the nation. There's just one special guy at Duke that's doing a little bit better than him. But it feels like there's still a competition out there for freshman of the year in the Big Ten. There's just so many good ones, and people understand he's scoring more because he has to on this Nebraska team. All that being said, I think it's going to be hard to keep that award away from him. Maybe it's going to go back to the team award type of thing, where you look at the success of the team. But the way that he's coming on, do you guys see the same thing I'm seeing, where he's just starting to hit his stride? I mean, four straight 20-plus games, it's hard to argue. But especially, some of those things, Strick, that you had early season, problems with him. Do you see it getting better on defense? Do you see him playing less straight up and that sort of thing?
No doubt. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing him have some progression. And it's definitely it seems more at ease than it did. It seemed like it was very rushed, or it was like a hunting, as opposed to it was a forcing. Now he's like letting stuff come to him. I think he's holding his emotions a little bit better. You can tell that at certain times, depending on who's out there on the floor, what ends up happening is it's one person that ends up doing a lot of different things, and then it begins to snowball. And that's where you have segments of those dry spells. That's when you have segments of those dead, 6, 7, 8. I mean, they probably have more 6 to 8 to 10-minute droughts that I've ever seen in a conference in the history of my life. You know what I mean? I that's just crazy amazing. I mean, I understand that it does happen at times, but good gosh, as much as it does happen for them, that's crazy. But then now I'm not now. I mean, I've seen it, but it's like I'm understanding why it happens and how it triggers and how it snowballs. And that's part of the drought process. So, but yeah, he's definitely looking nice. He's looking real nice. And, I hope they can retain him and give him one more look and make one more run at it in a better way, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they do. And maybe part of that answer is just with how effective he's playing is, we don't want to play hero ball, but at some point there's one guy that's having, scoring 20 points for 4 straight games. Maybe let him try to get you.
And a good clip. And good clips, Bach.
Yeah,
Not that, not that Allen Iverson days, where it's, you're 11 for 30. No, it ain't that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or 10 for 30. No. It's good. He's getting good clips and good looks, and the threes don't seem, he may have 1 as opposed to 3 of the bad ones. He may have 1 as opposed to 4 or 5 of the drives. It's those numbers are coming down. It's getting more efficient.
Yeah, and so I do think Nebraska, for what it's worth, over the last 2 games, you had the lead until the final 2 minutes against Rutgers. You had the opportunity to and played much better against Michigan on the road in Ann Arbor. I think, for what it's worth, that they are getting better. It just has to cross that finish line and get the win. We'll talk about how they do that and look at the upcoming games. The schedule softens a little bit. Maybe that's the answer. We'll talk about that next as we round out the Hoops postgame show here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season. Enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate. Need to send a message? Send it with cake. Congratulations? Here's a congratulations chocolate rum cake from Beatrice Bakery. Thank you? Say thank you with an amaretto cake. I'm sorry that I accidentally hit your mailbox with my car as I was backing out of the driveway and then continued right into your prized petunias. You say that with a lemon drop cake. Everybody knows that. Beatrice Bakery in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Here to help you say whatever it is you need to say. Welcome to our world of yum.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Today on Hey Culligan, unnecessary contaminants. Here's the referee.
Hey Culligan, that's a flag on my water for flagrant foul taste.
Ooh, that's a tough one, ref, but the solution is a Culligan Smart RO drinking water system that reduces up to 58 contaminants, making your water safer and delicious.
Yeah, I guess I missed that call.
And with the Culligan Connect app, you always know when your filters need changing.
The water's up and it's good.
Good call, ref, and we're already on the way.
Try a Culligan water softener for just $9.95 per month. Go to CulliganLincoln.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour, and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to the Tickets Basketball Postgame Show, featuring Derek Pearson and former Husker and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up things here on the Hoops post-game show. I'm Jake Bachman. He is Eric Strickland. We lost DP. DP left. I guess it's pretty close to his bedtime. That man works pretty much 24/7, so he's got to wake up pretty early and wanted to get a jump start on that. So thanks to DP for sticking around with us all evening and getting into this post-game show. Brought to you by Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical. Before we wrap things up for Nebraska, I did want to mention some other interesting things going on in college basketball tonight. First of all, Creighton with a 59-55 win over number 17 Connecticut. I know a lot of Nebraska fans don't want to hear that, but a big win for Creighton. Michigan State beating Maryland 65-63. Kansas a 70-61 victory over Iowa State. Kansas number 10 in the country, Iowa State number 20. So that was a top 25 battle. Number 1 Auburn outlasting Alabama 100-81. And then Texas Tech beating Texas 77-64. Both those teams are ranked in the top 25, and Chris Beard obviously playing his former team, and the former team got the best of him in that situation. So that's interesting. Maybe the most interesting score of the night as far as Nebraska is concerned, though, is Northwestern taking it to overtime and getting the win against Rutgers. 79-78. So Northwestern getting rid of that 4-game losing streak. Obviously, Rutgers, a team Nebraska almost just beat. Now Northwestern coming to town Saturday will be a noon game, and they'll have a little bit of momentum. But if you're Nebraska, you still got to feel like we've been talking about how important it is to win those home games. It may not be It may not be as critical when you're 0-11 in league play, but maybe it is. I mean, there's got to this team is way too good to have that record, and I think that we're still waiting for them to cross the line. I think that in the very least, you'll have a close game against Northwestern, another opportunity to learn to win that game at the end.
Yeah, I gotta take a little peek at it. You know, they seem to finish it. I mean, Harper got the shot that he was looking for. And just didn't fall. But it was it was a good game. I mean, it was a good game. There was a few good games out there this time. I mean, Michigan State was on the ropes, and they ended up pulling it out. But that's what that's what they executed. As I watched them, they just executed a great play and made the right play and finished it. And that's how you win games. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it can be if you, it can be high level chemistry if you don't know how to mix the right, ingredients to get what you need out of the, what you're trying to mix up. You see what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Sometimes it makes a volcano, and sometimes it makes what it's supposed to make. That's the part of making the right mix. And so sometimes it's just the disciplines that is needed, and understanding that, okay, I did my job. Ooh, okay, I'm driving to the basket. Oh, he didn't come. Now I go get him. Oh, I drove to the basket. Oh, here comes Dickinson. Okay, who's the next one? Okay, this guy's rotating. It'll start slowing down for you. This guy's rotating. Okay, that guy's going to drop to the corner. It's going to be back there. You have to that's in your mind. Those are the games you got to play when you're understanding it. So as you're driving and you have Dickinson coming over, you have the top guy, because their defense is trying to get to the corner, because if you're making the drive, you're either looking that corner or that corner. So the next guy is going to be out there. You already know that in your head. So your pass is going to be a hook out to there. Guess what's going to happen? The guy out of the corner. This is what you got to play in your head. If he flies out of the corner, guess where the next pass is? Right there. No hesitation. You get it. You look. You see him flying. Boom. He can't get back. There's no way. Now you've got an open look. That's the type of stuff they've got to start programming in their head. Right now, what happens is they do that. Oh, shoot. There's 3 of them. Oh, let me do this and try to just toss it up there. You saw a lot of that tonight, and a lot of it rolled off the front rim. A lot of it hit the rim, went off. You know what I mean? Then Bryce had a good straight line drive, crucial, face the guy up, straight line drive. He's got the angle now. Dickinson comes. You've got enough time because he's not there. You can float him. Bam, it goes in. That's the stuff they've got to start reading as a whole, as a team collectively, so that they can start, winning some of these games. Because that's how they're losing. It's not necessarily that they're always playing bad. It's just little technical things that they could do better.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I mean, you run through the teams that they've played so far in the Big Ten. It's been no break. It's all top half of the conference, right? I mean, they've played Indiana and Michigan and Ohio State and Michigan State and Rutgers and Illinois and Purdue, and it hasn't. There's been literally no break through their first 11. Now it does kind of it kind of eases up, and you hate to say that or look for that as a reason why they'll start to get it going, but it's just been such a grind, and it's so difficult to win in the Big Ten. And the season has just literally been split, not down the middle, but pretty close to it, to where now it eases up. You play their next games, like we've mentioned, is Northwestern, Minnesota. After that, it's at Iowa, against Maryland, at Northwestern, against Iowa, at Penn State. You notice I'm not including any Wisconsins or Michigan States or Purdue's or Ohio States in there. And they do all of that before finishing up their one game that is going to be against the top half of the Big Ten to finish out the season, is at number 11 Wisconsin. But you almost want that there, right? That cherry at the end, to where, okay, now we've got our chance to prove that we can get it done against inferior competition, and it will all build up to this opportunity to show that we've made it by the end of the season. So I think in the very least, at least that scheduling sets up well for a team that, like I said, looks about as good as it has all season, which maybe isn't saying much, but it's showing improvement.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, because if you look at it, you learn how to win on the road against not top tier team. You win your home games against bottom level teams. Now you may pick up 4 games, right? You go on the road, you clip Wisconsin because you're hot, you're feeling good about yourself. They really don't have much to play for, other than, they probably think they're better than you. They barely got by. You may catch them slipping. If you catch them slipping, now you're going into the Big Ten tournament, and you're in the Big Ten tournament. You never know what can happen, baby. That's the way you gotta, that's the mindset. I mean, I think we had a struggle when I was at Nebraska, and we were kind of a little bit under. We needed to make a run. We ended up winning, I think, 6 out of 6, 5 or 6 out of 7 or 5 out of 6. Then we get to the Big 8 tournament. We need to get a couple in here. Boom, we blow out Oklahoma. Boom, we beat a top 5 Missouri, who was undefeated in conference. And then we got Oklahoma State, who ends up going. So we got hot. That can happen to anybody. March Madness is March Madness for a reason. You never know. Just get in there and make it happen.
You never do. Hopefully Nebraska does make it happen. Just 5 seconds here, so we'd like to thank everybody for listening. So thank you to Strick, and thanks to DP. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who